Hey, Emery, this is in response to what you said about curse words and body parts being on the same level of acceptability, and the medical terms. When my kids were little, I didn't like that children basically had to learn two languages. They had to learn baby talk, and then they had to learn real English. So instead of calling a train a choo-choo, we called it a train. And instead of calling a blanket a blankie, we called it a blanket. And my daughter, who's 24, she still to this day is like, I couldn't call a blankie a blankie. It was a blanket all the time. And she has a big problem with that. But at the same time, she only had to learn English once. And I think that that was really important. And I love how you talked about that body parts and sexuality just need to be taught matter-of-factly and without taboo, the same way that capitalization is taught. I think that respect needs to be mentioned there because, we don't want people going around, walking around naked, touching each other and touching themselves. So just kind of respect. And I think you touched on that when you were saying that these are private parts and we keep them covered up, but just also not only do we respect our own bodies and keep them private, but we respect other people's bodies as well. And just when I was pregnant, I, having my child for the first time, and I was probably 24, I couldn't go into labor. And a lot of that was because I didn't feel comfortable with my body. I didn't feel comfortable with my doctor. I didn't feel comfortable with my husband. And even though I was old enough to have a baby, I yet still was very naive and not body aware and comfortable with my body. And, I didn't have that voice, which I think is so important. And I loved what you said. I loved your passion. And thank you so much for sharing.